welcome to Strictly Ball Business. Alec here, your host with the toast. And we've got Dalton. Nothing rhymes with Dalton. Maybe Fulton? I don't know. Faulted? It's his fault. That's all I'm trying to say. Tonight, we are going to talk about some NBA basketball, baby. It's been a little bit since we chatted, and we wanted to give you the best. So today we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers young core, which might be the best young core in the league. We're also going to talk about our early award predictions, mainly the big ones on that. And we're going to discuss the Wizards and the Raptors hot starts. Which one is sustainable? Is either sustainable? And we'll talk a couple of game breakdowns where those teams are going forward. We've got Magic and Wolves played the other day. We had Warriors and Hornets last night, Blazers and Cavs last night, and Wolves and Clippers last night. So let's get into it. Cleveland Cavaliers, they have an exciting young core headlined by none other than Evan Mobley, the number 3 overall pick in this year's draft. Let's get started on him, man. I love him. He is just, he's exciting to watch. There was a lot of doubts on whether he'd be a solid defender early on because, well, to be frank, a lot of big guys do struggle defensively in their rookie years. But he's doing well, and he looks pretty solid as a passer and as a scorer as well. So lots to be excited about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I had too. Like Ayton, Wiseman. It's nice to see a big man just come out and ready to produce like the day of or like even the first season, honestly. Especially like you said, defense. It doesn't come easy to rookies at all, let alone big man rookies. I mean, look at Mo Bamba. He was drafted on his defense, and he's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Second on the rookie ladder, though. I mean, he has pretty decent shooting splits, 49, 20, 76. Obviously, he started off really hot when he started the season from 3, and it looked great. He tapered off. We all knew he would. But his shot still looks decent, I mean, if he's going to play power forward, he's going to have to at least get that to league average. But great start for him.
So far, it's working. I mean, alongside Jared Allen, you got a couple of skyscrapers down there. A lot of people doubted if that could work because of the spacing problems. If it makes sense, especially pushing and transition. But, Evan Mobley's a good enough ball handler. Jared Allen, he can dunk with his back to the basket. So you can really give him the ball anywhere. So this is a duo that is figuring it out and, looks really solid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And just the offensive game of him looks pretty nice too. It doesn't look as unpolished as a lot of rookies. He's able to hit those hooks, hit some mid-range jumpers. He's able to pass out too. It's very important as a big. I mean, he's not a huge like Jokic type passer, but he knows how to make the next one, and that's just as important.
Yeah, he's a solid passer. There was a game, not this most recent one, but I believe it was the one before that. He got a pass into he was kind of at the top of the free throw line, maybe a little bit into it. So he easily could have tried to make his own move, but instead he caught the ball and in one motion got to the next guy who was cutting to the lane for a bucket. And then he got the assist. So really nice court vision from him. And he showed that a little bit in college. And I think this is a guy who can definitely continue to be a solid passer. Obviously, compare anyone to Nikola Jokic, it's like, well, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of tough to say that's who you want him to be as the big time big man passer. But I think he's got a lot of talent and he can be definitely a top passer in this league.
Yeah, for sure. But who is coming out to be one of the best passers in the league is Darius Garland.
Oh, yeah, with those oops to Mobley and Allen. Oh,
definitely helping out his assists. He's got 14.6 points per game, 7.9 assists so far, 1.3 steals. Pretty nice shooting splits, 46, 37, 85. Can't complain with that. That's a great for a third year player, fourth year, third year player. I mean, he was drafted on his shooting, and I think he's come out a lot more than what they thought he was going to be. And he's really he's found his role on this team, and that's what he's going to be.
No, he's very good. And it's like they know they have to make a decision between him and Sexton because Sexton's about ready to get an extension. And it's like, well, Garland's kind of making it easy that he is going to be the choice just because of his playmaking ability, which Sexton hasn't shown that he can do that. Like Sexton is a great time scorer, but you got guys on this team who can get buckets, and you're bringing in Evan Mobley here, who can possibly take a lot of that scoring on his own in the future. And obviously, you still need a good two guard. It's kind of a debate whether Sexton and Garland should be together, but Sexton is still a great young player, regardless of fit, regardless of anything else. They have a great young core here with him, and 25 points per game the last couple of years. Obviously, it's dropped so far this year, but very efficient. After coming out of Alabama, a lot of people had doubts that he'd be an efficient scorer.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just back to Darius real quick. I mean, you can really see on the floor, especially he hasn't played that many lineups with Ricky Rubio, but he definitely does benefit a lot better when there is a secondary playmaker, because then he's able to play off ball, which is how he scores. He's able to get open, get free, get that three, and that would be best for him to get a two guard that can mainly pass and shoot. I mean, that's what everyone wants, but maybe not even the best shooter, like someone who can just pass and defend. In the end, that'd be great. Could it be Okoro in a bigger role? I don't know. We'll see. But he really benefits to having shooters on the floor. Like I'll mention later on. Like if they're able to hit that shot, it's perfect. Like Lowry helps him out so much. Even Chetty, they're doing like that's a great fit for him. And I think he's gonna just have to increase his defense on the end and maybe make a few more crisp passes, not take so long on realizing when a play is developing, or sometimes he gives the defense too much time to react to the obvious lane he's passing into, and that's what gets him his 4.1 turnovers.
Yeah, definitely needs to get the turnovers below 3 if he's gonna be an effective point guard like long term. But I think he's growing. Like you said, year 3. I don't really have any doubts that he can become a top 10 point guard in this league, if not better. Seems like a very solid player. So,
wow, top 10.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he doesn't see like the lanes every time, so he's a little turnover happy, like some guys can be. But I haven't seen him have a ton of games where it's like 8 or 9 turnovers, like some of these other guys.
Yeah,
So
if Russ has made a place in this league.
Yeah, at least he's not having horrific games from what the eye can tell.
Right. Well, let's get into Colin Sexton. I'd say he's their star player right now. As of today, he's clearly the one. I'd say he's the best. Especially offensively, he's their star, their current star. He's the headline of all the games that they put out. Will he be for much longer? I don't think so. Honestly, I hope not. It's not the best fit for him here. I mean, he did what he could. He did what he was asked for. They didn't think he was going to come in and be able to shoot. He got that. He's just never. I mean, he has the intensity on defense, but he's 6'1". Like you can only do so much, and he's also just not that smart of a defender. Like even like some people just have that defensive instinct, like Isaac Okoro or Evan Mobley. When they come into the game, they just know how to play defense, and he just wasn't it. But I mean, he's putting that effort on the floor, and there's only so much you can ask. But he really falls into this really hard area where he's short enough where he should play point guard, but he's not a good passer at all. And we've been waiting to see that step, and now he's down to 1.9 assists. He was up to 4 last season, but his turnovers are way below than what we want. I mean, it is hard to take this season so far in a sample size, because when you play for a franchise that's obviously not behind you anymore, it's hard to get that ball rolling. When it's hard to get excited about games when you know that you're just a piece away from getting traded. Someone becomes available, you're on that trade block.
But it's not like they're totally not buying him to that fact. I mean, there was a report recently that they were willing to offer him somewhere around like the 111 to 120 million dollar range, but he wanted more of like what Shea Gilgeous got, like the 167 range. And
I could see a team paying for that.
Like I could see him being worth that, absolutely. But they clearly want him. They just want him for a certain price. Or maybe do you think they know he's not going to accept that, so they're just putting an offer out there to say that they are?
I think I think they understand when you have a team like that, especially Cavs in a small market, you have even though he's not the best fit, like you do have to offer him in worst case scenarios, you get a trade into some I mean, he's still
Yeah,
what six I think it's a $6 million contract. It's actually really hard to
right.
trade for the value he's at. So
But
you
like when you're
sign him and try to trade him away.
that far apart in negotiations, like they know that he's not going to accept it. So are they really offering it in good faith, or are they just offering it so that the PR and the NBA media picks it up and says, "Oh, well, they were interested to a certain degree." It's better than not putting an offer out at all.
I mean, it does help. I mean, when you're looking at behind the stage when it comes to other this free agency when he's out there, it's going to help that like if they ever want to try to do a sign and trade, that like they don't think the other team doesn't be like, oh, you don't value him at all. It's not you didn't even offer him a contract. We can lowball you on a sign and trade and get that deal done. Rather than be like, oh, you offered him a contract. You have hold value in him, obviously. It's just a
Yeah.
very small part, but I don't but I think it's more like I mean, they saw like he did everything they needed, like came out 25 per game score for the last like 2 years, 24, 25. He's been really good for them. He's tried. He's never they've never had issues with him.
Hmm.
It's always been like this guy's showed up, he's worked, and it's just that he's just no longer a good fit with the rest of the team. And I think they know that. I think that's like this is the minimum that we're gonna pay you, but we don't want to pay you more than that because they know about the fit. I think it
For
just comes
sure.
down to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you agree with me. I get it. Um, Other guys on this team, Isaac Okoro is a young dude. Got drafted, I think fifth overall was it? So, or maybe sixth or something, but it's pretty
Fifth or
high.
sixth.
Yeah. So, he's a guy that you expect to get some more playing time here as they want to get some value on that and prove that he was worth it. I mean, I suppose this is only his second year, but regardless, you look for a second year leap out of a guy. You don't have the rookie year excuses anymore.
Yeah. I mean, he did lose his spot to Lowry Markkinen after that trade, so he's now coming off the bench. He hasn't been looking that great. I mean, immediately when you look at it at the stats, 7 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 5.5 steals, point 0.5 blocks. Shooting of 48, 20, and 50. I mean, he's a wing. He's got to be shooting more than 20. He's making very little. But
I'm guessing it's very
his
small sample size. I mean, probably
yeah,
like two of 10.
he's only
So
played in 6 games. I think it was like 18 minutes in each. Um,
yeah.
so he's easing back. I think he was injured and off the play preseason or the summer league. I forget which, but it's still not. He's not looking the most polished coming off. He does have a defensive rating of 107 in those 6 games, so he is doing what he's supposed to be, like what he was drafted to be. That's there still. Like he's still a really nice defender, and that's what they need, honestly, in this with this team. But
Sounds like he's basically Josh Okogie right now.
yeah, yeah, actually, very much like it. But he's a little more of a better fast break scorer. I mean, if you get it in the fast break, a lot of times he'll be able to finish it.
So he can dribble a little bit.
Yeah,
He
he can.
can at least control the ball.
Yeah, on a rare occasion, he can take some players off the dribble and do
There
some
you go.
decent. Not the best defenders, but he can still take them off the dribble and makes
Yeah.
something. I mean, 7 points per game off
Yeah.
18 is it's all right.
As
Being
long
the
as you're not stumbling and fumbling all over the place and not giving yourself an opportunity.
yeah, for sure. So he's a decent piece, but I think the most valuable piece so far this year has been Jared Allen. I think he's a huge
Yep.
part of why they're winning. I mean, he's
Yeah.
14
Possibly
points
the
per
biggest part.
game. Yeah, 10.7 rebounds, and that
He's
seems
shooting like
low.
85% or something stupid.
His shooting splits are 70, 0, and
70.
72. 70% as his field goal. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's fucking crazy. But
Sure.
no, he's when you look at his rebounds, it's 10, but you gotta remember like Mobley's averaging 8 assists. Usually you don't get a power forward that's also averaging close to 10. So they're just gobbling up all these rebounds. They have this big man thing going on. It's great, but he's been on a roll for half the year. He's been in this system ever since Drummond left. He just took it over. He's been doing great with it. Does nothing to space the floor, but that's why they're pushing shooting so much in their wings and their
Yeah.
and Evan
Yeah.
Mobley because
It's a
I
big
mean
reason they traded for Markkinen.
Yeah,
You know,
huge reason. They need to be able to space the floor, but 2.7 offensive rebounds is a career low. But like I just said, like that's nothing to be too scared of. He's sharing a front court with Evan Mobley, a 7-footer who's actually taller than him, but he's 6'11", so that'll eventually go up. I mean, it'll go up or stay the same. I don't think that hinders the team at all. Um, but he's just been great, crazy efficient. He's looked really nice next to Mobley. That's the weird thing for me is like when I first heard about that, we talked about this in the draft before the draft. I don't think that Mobley and him were going to be a good fit, but they look strangely like comfortable together.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, everybody in the world thought that that was going to be a really questionable fit because, you just don't put two guys that tall next to each other. It's just usually a recipe for disaster because they're too slow, but it works out because Evan Mobley has a ball handle. Jared Allen cleans up anything that comes off the glass and he puts in just about everything you give to him. So, you
and you can
know,
hold down the defense
yeah,
within the
they're
paint.
both good. Yeah, they're both playing very well on defense. So this is a duo that could work out.
Yeah,
Maybe we're seeing a new revolution here. Maybe Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama will end up on the same team.
yeah. I mean, it's been crazy. A 6'11" center, 7-foot power forward, and a 7-foot small forward because they got
Yeah.
Lowry Markkinen playing their starting small
Well,
forward role.
but then it works out that Garland and Sexton are like a combined 5'5" together.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, you still have the guards that are taller guards, but like Beal's a pretty tall guard. He's about 6'4", six
We're
five.
just talking about the Cavs right now.
I'm talking about defending though.
Oh, defending. Yeah.
Yeah, but Lowry Markkinen, I mean, he in some games he's looked awesome. Some games he just hasn't. About 13 points per game, 6 rebounds. Uh, he is getting
Yeah, his
1.3
three is not
steals.
good right now, and
No.
that'll start falling.
Yeah, it's 28%. I think I think we all know that that'll go back up. It's just new team. First
Yeah,
6 games on a new team.
small sample. He'll pick it up. I'm
It's
not too
this.
worried about that. And
Yeah,
once that goes up, his points per game will go up too.
yeah. I mean, he's still shooting 86 from the line. Typically, 3-point percentage follows field free throw percentage. So I'm not too worried there, like you just said. But
Yeah.
it's the 36% from the field. I mean, he's about half his shots are threes, so it shouldn't affect it that much. Whereas he's at 36, but it does hurt. But he's got a clumsy handle. Great shooting for him. I think he's gonna be fine. Shot selection has to get better. He needs to just take the next shot. I mean, he only averages 1 assist. So if he gets the ball, he's going to try to score it. He's taking too many of these contested jumpers where he just got to move it. Just one more pass. Just make the next pass, man.
Yeah. Just needs to be a better teammate.
Yep.
He's obviously wants to prove the people in Chicago wrong and have a big season. So, he's probably a little, gun happy, wants to get it going. So, but I think he can turn it around. Just needs some better coaching in his ear. And I think they got a solid guy this year in JB Bickerstaff, dude who finally got his shot after being an interim for like 3 or 4 different teams. So this is good. This is a good team. It's cool to see Cleveland playing well without LeBron. We'll see how long they can keep it going this year. If they can make it to the play-in, that'd be awesome for them. I would love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get into early award predictions. We are going to start with the MVP. Who is your MVP for this season?
All right. I got my 3 nominees. I got some honorable mentions. So my who I got right now is Luka, Giannis, and Steph. I think all of them are playing great. The records are coming with it. The Bucks are obviously a little behind because they're missing 2 of their starters, 2 of their scoring options, and actually 3 now because Middleton's been off for the last 2 games. So it's literally just Giannis out there. I think he's been great. Luka's obviously been just carrying this Cavs team. I mean, Kristaps is out again off injury. Tim Hardaway he just needs another playmaker, somebody to hand him the ball. He can't do it himself. But my MVP right now is Steph Curry. I mean, they're the 2nd seed. They look really great. And even when he's not affecting what they do like offensively, he's had some bad offensive nights. even when he's not doing that, he's able to affect the game like with passing and even in defense. Like right now, he's the leading guard for scoring, and he's had off nights. He's the leading guard for scoring in the NBA, and he's the leading guard defensive rating. Like as of right now, I mean, it's gonna change, but right
Yeah.
now, that's awesome.
It is kind of crazy that he's the leading scoring guard because just yesterday he only had like 2 or 4 points for like the whole game.
Yeah,
And, a couple games before that, he didn't have a good one either. But we got the dog going. That's funny. My MVP prediction, similar top three, but I've got in my top three Curry, Durant, and Giannis. And I'm going with Giannis to win it all. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. His 3-point shot is better. His free throw ritual is shorter, and he's shooting better there. I think overall, this is going to be a great season for him that can hopefully get him an MVP. Obviously, he's going to be great defensively all season. And he's got Holiday out right now. Who knows how long he'll be out. And Middleton as well, but he didn't go out till just recently. But also Giannis is going to be just having a better perspective on him because he just came off the championship, and so people are ready to give him all the other awards more often now. Whereas if he would have not finished out that championship, I would have probably said there would be no chance you can win MVP this year, just because like it's such a narrative driven league.
Yeah. That's right. And now he can win the MVP again, but he'll have to beat my boy Steph out. So we'll have to see about that. Who do you have for your defensive player of the year?
I'm going to go chalk on this one and say Rudy Gobert. I just think he's going to get close to, if not over 4 blocks per game. And they're probably going to have the number 1 or 2 seed right up there, and it's going to be hard not to give it to him. He's going to have another phenomenal season.
Yeah. My honorable mentions are Horford's playing great, Turner's always a mention, and Paul George is always a good defensive player. But my 3 nominees are Bam Adebayo, 2 Heat players, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. They're both playing crazy defense. Granted, they have like the best defense, arguably one of the best defensive teams built around them. Every single player in that 1-5, except for Duncan Robinson, can play elite defense. But yeah, Rudy's probably going to win. I mean, he's been holding down the Jazz just on their whole defensive end. He's first in rebounds, 6th in offensive rebounds, 5th in blocks, and his defensive rating is even better than it was last season at 104. Like 104, like 107's a good defensive rating, but he's hanging out at 100.
Yeah, and it's like, is that partially a factor to the new reffing changes this year?
It could. He's on the benefit of that side, so
yeah. But he was playing phenomenal without the adjustments, so it's back to how basketball should be, and I'm happy to see it. So I think it's going to be a fantastic year for him, and this would be his 4th time winning it, right?
Yeah, this would be his 4th because he won one, then back. This was his back-to-back, and then wait, was it? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to be 3P now. So I'm pretty sure it'd be 4th. So that'd be crazy, and I'm sure it's going to happen. But rookie of the year, this is one that's been interesting. Obviously, Cade and Jalen Green were the big picks coming into the year, but now a few games in, Cade's only played a couple of games that he struggled in, and Jalen Green has looked solid in a couple of games, but he's been inconsistent. I'm curious right now who you got, man.
All right, so my only honorable mention would be Jalen Green. I mean, he's a lot of ways he's started the opposite way as a lot of these. They've given him the biggest role, and then they're just going to let him grow into the biggest role rather than giving him minute by minute, letting him lead up to where he has to be. But I have for my rookie of the year nominees Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, and my guy, the second coming, Franz Wagner. I was wrong about him, and I'm glad I was wrong about him.
Yeah.
But I will say my rookie of the year is still Scotty Barnes. He's just been outrageous. I didn't think he was going to be this good. This is like the Raptors have to be so happy. He's already playing better than they thought he was going to play. Like,
Yeah. the best rookie in a strong draft class right now, too.
Yeah.
And he is my pick as well. I'll give that away right now. That's who I chose for rookie of the year. I mean, he's coming back to play Friday after being out for, I think, just one game he missed, but he's averaging 18 and 10. He can guard any position.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This guy is so fun to watch too. Like, I'm not going to be surprised if he throws down some sweet posters because he's a big dude and he can just pile through anybody if he wants to. So definitely a fun guy to watch. And yeah, I mean, the Raptors just get to accelerate their rebuild just like that. I mean,
Yeah. And now they can go out and be like, all right, you know what? Scotty's turned out. Anobi's even getting even better. Like maybe Siakam is a trade asset now, and then they can get something more back. Maybe a full actual center rather than all these
yeah.
smaller guys they have hanging around, or maybe a point guard or shooting guard.
Yeah.
Fred can play both, so
I think
he's really opened it up for them.
they'll have to let him play for a bit, let him get some of his value back since he's been injured. And
Yeah,
then, you know, and he didn't have a great last season either comparably to what his expectations were. So I think if he returns a bit to what we think he is as as a player, averages around, 23 points per game, if he's efficient, gets like 8 to 9 rebounds per game, I think people will easily line up to trade for that. I would love the Timberwolves to trade for that, but I don't
it's
know.
good defense.
I don't know how excited the Raptors would be about D'Lo. So
Yeah, yeah, I don't know about that, but
yeah,
solid.
very solid, very solid. So that is our rookie of the year. We're both agreeing on Scotty. Obviously, a lot of other great rookies here. Evan Mobley could get it, but does seem kind of odd for a big man to get that award. I don't think it's happened very often, so probably not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Coach of the year, man. Who you got?
So I got my three nominees. Now I always have to mention Quinn Snyder because he's I don't know how he hasn't won one. Him and what he's done with the Jazz is outrageous.
I
Like, it's
thought he should
great.
have won last year, honestly.
Yeah, me as well. He was awesome. Jazz are 6-1. He's a great nominee for me. Billy Donovan, he's done an awesome job. I mean, like, yeah, you can say he has talent, but the defense he has built around these three main stars that are going to take up most of the minutes, and none of them are good defenders. Vucevic, DeRozan, and Levine.
Levine,
What he's done around them and built this really good defense is awesome. Like, Billy Donovan has really come to play today. But and then, of course, Eric Spoelstra. I mean, he's shown that he's always a great coach. Has he won Coach of the Year yet?
I think he has. I think he's won one, but maybe he hasn't. I'm not totally sure.
He deserves to win it again. I mean, different
Yeah.
players. Doesn't have LeBron, so, and he's able to do this. So, but I will say mine is Billy Donovan so far. I mean, it's really hard to build a defense around non-defensive players and offense around defensive players, which is like what Eric Spoelstra has done. And building defense out of nothing is just huge for me. And I really like what the Bulls are doing. They're looking great. They're looking fun. I think he deserves it as of today.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked great. I think he could definitely win it. My choices are going to be a little bit different because the Bulls, I mean, they got those players in free agency. Billy Donovan was there before. I mean, you can chalk a lot of their success up to the new talent they brought in, maybe not necessarily the coach, but I understand the viewpoint as well. That my top three is James Borrego from the Charlotte Hornets and Ty Lue from the LA Clippers. And my winner is the last one, Miami Heat's Eric Spoelstra. I think just what they got going on down there, and him, like you said, if he at most has won one award, I think he deserves the recognition. He's possibly the best coach in the NBA, and he deserves that recognition. They're having a fantastic season so far, and their defense is going to finish possibly the best in the league. And this is a team that I could easily see winning the championship. So we'll see what ends up happening. They're probably going to finish top three in the East. It's all going to come down to health for them. But Tyler Hero right now is having a fantastic season. Duncan Robinson We know he's been great still. He's coming fresh off that extension and looks hungry. PJ Tucker has been a solid defender, even if he's playing less minutes. And man, you just can't say enough about Kyle Lowry and that pairing between Kyle Lowry and Eric Spoelstra. I mean, I wonder how similar it is to Monty Williams and Chris Paul, because it's just a couple of geniuses that can orchestrate on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that pick. Like I said, he was in my nomination, so. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with the other guys too, like Ty Lue, I think could have a good opportunity because, Kawhi is missing a lot of the year. Still expect this team to make the playoffs. They looked really solid against the Timberwolves the other day. And, we'll see. I think he's one of the best coaches in terms of in-game decision making and rotations. So I think he could definitely have a good shot at it. And James Borrego from the Hornets, maybe a little bit outside pick, but they started out 5-1. They're now 5-4. But if maybe they get hot again, they make it to the playoffs. This is a team that is looking better defensively than they did last year. LaMelo Ball is making a big jump, and offensively they're looking really exciting too. And I don't think making the decision of putting Bridges over Washington would have been as easy before Bridges just started playing super well, but maybe Borrego has some hand in Bridges becoming as good as he is. I want to give him some credit for that as well.
yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made by the end of that season that PJ was looking like he had the better upside than Miles. I mean, Miles had been in the league longer. We kind of thought we knew what we were going to get from Miles, and then PJ was looking good. He was getting better every year, so it was a tough decision, and he made the right decision, which we can get into at the next category if you want. If we want to just jump right into the most improved award.
Yeah, let's go most improved award, man.
All right, so I got three. I got my three nominees. So I'm gonna start off John Morant. Just looking like a top 5 point guard. He's arrived. He's at peak condition. He's just carrying these Grizzlies to where they have to be. Through injuries or whatever are inconsistent minutes between Kyle and Brandon Clark. Like, I have no idea what's going on with the Grizzlies. All I know is John Morant is just dragging this team to wins. But then Jordan Poole is another guy that's out there. He's looking great. It's hard to think of him not as like a really good player because a lot of people see him. They're like, oh, yeah, he's playing great now. But when Clay comes back, he's not going to be him. But like, you do have to look at it. Like, this guy's just put up 31 last night with 4 steals. Like, he's
he shot
real.
16 threes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe not 16 threes, but a ton
he
of
shot 16. It was the most in the game.
Yeah.
He didn't make that many, but he shot them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was 7 for 16. That was it. Which is insane efficiency from 3. That's almost 50%.
Yeah.
He's arrived. He looks awesome. He's a huge reason why, next to Steph Curry, on why they're doing so well. He's an actual scoring option outside of Steph Curry. So they don't have to go to Wiggins all the time, which helps a ton. Helps with their spacing. Like, trying to guard 2 of those guys, it's almost like they're back into form, especially if Clay comes back and they find a way to either have Jordan Poole as the 6th man, which would be fine, or maybe get all 3 of them to have that lineup would be scary. Like, you can't stop. Defenders are going to be constantly running. Anybody can hit a 3. So that he's been great. But like we just said, the Hornets, who's my pick most improved, is Miles Bridges. This guy's been crazy. He's had like 4 different 30-point games already. When you watch him on the floor, he just looks like total composure, looks like a consistent all-star, like fringe all-star. Like, you look at him and you're like, yeah, he looks like he averages 20. He's averaged 20, 30 points per game for like seasons. Like, he just looks like it's normal for him. And everything he's been inconsistent at, dribbling, going off the dribble, his handle, his defense, it's just good now. Just like all of a sudden, like came this season, he's like, figured it out. I figured the NBA out, guys. I can play now.
Yep, I'm all good now. No, a couple of guys that I had picked here. I think DeJounte Murray could possibly get this award. Maybe not a guy that puts up gaudy scoring numbers, but a guy who is improved in the scoring column. He's their de facto leader now assists are up, rebounds are up. And, I think overall by the end of the year, he could have some really nice stat lines. But this is a scorer's award, so it's not going to go to him. Another guy who I think possibly get it is Tyler Hero, just because he had such a bad season last year and he's off to a really great start this year. But I actually also went with Miles Bridges because he is just unbelievable right now. He's that number 2 option to LaMelo Ball that, we were saying they needed to get a number 2 option. Well, shit. I mean, if he can just keep doing this, that's great, man. You're going to easily, average close to 20 points per game. And, he's got great hustle. He's a solid defender. And, he's, like I said, the best player for LaMelo because he can grab those lobs and
athletic as hell.
Athletic as hell. The trio between Bridges, Ball, and their announcer is the most elite trio in the NBA.
The most exciting trio in the NBA today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And that's another thing is his 3-pointer is just so consistent now. Like, I'm like, all right, I hope this is Miles Turner because good for him because he's been working for this.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah, Miles Turner, totally different Miles.
Yeah,
literally going the opposite way.
But Miles Turner did have his career high for threes the other day with 7 threes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
So,
but then he averaged 4 points the next game. I mean, didn't average. He scored 4 points the next game.
Yeah,
I remember seeing
Miles Turner, baby. Last one we got 6th man of the year. Tyler Hero's my guy. He's going to win this award. I think Jordan Clarkson could be a potential guy to win this award as well. And there's also my boy Patrick Beverly. No, I'm just kidding. Tyler Hero's going to win this award. He's been kicking ass so far, and the Heat are going to have one of the best records in the East, which will only help him. So that's who I got.
Yeah, there's only been 2 that emerged. I mean, J-Cap's still pretty solid. He's doing exactly what he did last year. But Tyler Hero, if he can the question is if he can keep this up. He's known to be like a very
streaky,
high ceiling, streaky type player. So if he can keep this up, I think he's the shoo-in. I mean, there's only 2 candidates I can think of for this award, and
he's got name recognition. It only makes sense. I mean, if he can have great numbers after the bounce back year, people want to give him his recognition.
Yeah, it's his award to lose, and I hope he keeps it up. Represent Wisconsin, baby.
Even though he didn't want to go to school here because of the reputation, which I understand, but that's okay.
Thanks, Sam Decker and Frank Kaminsky.
We're gonna move on to talk about a couple of hot starts in the NBA. Surprisingly, the Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors are both a couple of teams with only 1 loss on each of their columns. Which team do you think can really sustain this is the question, because either one sustain.
Yeah, so I took a good look at this, and at first when you look at it, Raptors pop right out, but then you start looking at the Wizards, right? So they're 5-1, and what's winning them is actually their defense. So they're getting huge contributions from their new guys, the Lakers guys, and their new signing Dinwiddie,
Harrell has been fantastic.
Harrell has been Kuzma and Kuzma and KCP. Harrell's been fucking fantastic. He's been their second leading scorer. He's been awesome. He's been that hustle player, exactly what they want. And so now that they have all these guys who can create for themselves, like more than just one other guy, when there was John Wall or when there was Russell Westbrook, they have a bunch of guys that they can give it to and just say, go score. I mean, Harrell's not like a playmaker, but you have Dinwiddie, you have Kuzma, you have KCP who can do it to a certain extent. So they have all these guys that can take the ball out of Beal's hands, so he's not just dragging this team like John Morant is. But they added so much shooting too. Like everybody's been able to shoot. So Kuzma's shooting well. Dinwiddie's shooting great. KCP's KCP,
Yeah.
And even Neto's just shooting great from 3. They got all these guys. And Beal, and the funny thing is they're 5-1, and Beal's not even at 100%. I mean, he's still scoring 24.4, but he's only shooting 39% from the field, 25% from 3, 100% for free throw right now. But that'll obviously go down. But he's not being efficient, and they're still winning games. Like eventually, he will get back, and then he'll start hitting the shots, and then they'll just look that much better. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, and they got Rui Hachimura on the way. Hopefully, he'll play solid when he comes back. So
yeah, Rui hasn't even played, but like it's their defense that's holding them down right now. Their offense is decent. It's 107, but they've held the teams to 106, and that's a really good defensive rating, especially for the Wizards. And you
yeah,
look at it, like
I mean, it's yeah,
you're getting
you
good
can
defense.
see, yeah, you can see why they're winning. I mean,
Yeah,
they have a great record for a reason. So, defense has always been the formula for many teams to start winning games, and Washington's
yeah,
figuring it out.
that's all it
It's
takes.
it's possible that the biggest addition for them this year has been their coach, Wes Unseld Jr., a guy who came very highly regarded over there and obviously is like the best rookie head coach right now. I mean, on the flip side, right across a couple state lines, you got Ime Adoko, who's already got a mutiny going on in his locker room. So,
Yeah, no, that's for sure. But my last point is like you're getting good defense out of the guys like Bradley Beal, who's plus in scoring and obviously defense. Harrell's a plus 6.6. That's pretty crazy. I think that's like the most. I mean, he probably won't be able to sustain that, but like it'll stay
yeah.
close to that. And I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
obviously the
been
defensive anchor for this team.
traditionally he has not been that good of a defender. So that's great to
Yeah.
see him doing better this year.
For sure. And Denny Adviha is a plus 8.5. He's actually playing really nice team defense for them. Like maybe not a on ball defender as well as people thought, but he's been able to help where to help, fill the lanes where to fill the lanes. He's been looking great. Not as much offensively, but defensively, he's been awesome. Just excited to see Rui come back. He was supposed to be my pick for most improved, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, he's not going to get those touches.
But I actually think the Raptors have a better chance at a hot start. They they have the potential rookie of the year in Scotty Barnes, and they've got Pascal Siakam, who hasn't played yet this year, on his way back. Fred VanVleet just turned in 33 points yesterday on solid shooting. OG's having a great year, possibly a breakout season for him. And Gary Trent Jr., I like him. I haven't seen enough out of him this year, but I like who he is from what I saw last year. So I think this could be a fun year for them. And their hot start, I believe in it to a certain degree. I already had them as, I think, a play-in team coming into the year. I don't know if I'm going to guarantee them a playoff spot. There's still a lot of solid teams that they have to compete with, but I could definitely see them finishing really anywhere all the way up to like the fifth seed. We'll see. It's a really great team. Nick Nurse is potentially the best coach in like his division, guaranteed, and he's one of the best in the league. So he's a guy who could potentially win Coach of the Year. Even he
Yeah.
got hired as people knowing him as like an offensive genius, and he somehow turned into like a defensive genius too. Like Bradley Beal said of playing against him, he's like, man, every time I play against Nick Nurse, he throws something funky at me, and it's like he's a tough one to play against. And it's like it's cool hearing you say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Nick Nurse. I think they're he's a huge reason on their success. I mean, I don't know what last year was. Had to be a fluke, but when they get figured out, when Siakam comes back and maybe towards the trade deadline, if Siakam's still there or gone, we'll see what the team looks like. And I think they're definitely a playoff team.
Absolutely, yeah. I think either way, and I feel like they might keep him for this year just because it's still Scotty's rookie year, and then maybe in the offseason you trade him, and I think they could still make the playoffs with that.
Yeah.
But let's get into some game reactions here. We had 4 games in the last couple days that me and you had a chance to watch. I had a chance to go to both of them in person. Let's go to the Magic Wolves game first. We went to this one together. Franz Wagner just freaking dominated in the fourth quarter. He had a dunk and he was able to put him on his ass, but then he stood up with some swagger, and Cole Anthony was hitting any three. It didn't matter in the fourth quarter. It didn't matter who you put on him. He actually wasn't shooting that well till he got to the fourth. And he ended up turning it into like a 7 for 15 performance, and free throw line, he had like 9 makes there too. So dude was killing it. The Wolves, they were leading the game into the fourth. They choked it away. Not much more you can say than that for them. It was very disappointing loss for the Timberwolves. Patrick Beverly didn't play. D'Lo ended up missing the second half. Edwards had a good game from what I can remember, and Towns was decent as well, but we didn't really get anything from anywhere else. Malik Beasley was like 3 of 15, and it didn't feel like he missed that many shots, but I
Yeah.
mean, I guess just every catch and shoot 3 he got, he clanked.
Yeah. Edwards did really well. Cat did really well. It's just like the story of the Timberwolves so far has just been their perimeter defense just falls apart in the second half. And that's why Cole Anthony was able to get whatever he wanted. He was able to get the switch on Cat one time, hit a 3 in his face. Cat was not able to recover as fast. Franz Wagner was just kind of a cheat code this game. He was hitting everything from outside, inside. He was just an efficient monster. Like he was doing way too well. The Magic's guards did struggle. Jalen Suggs, his homecoming game, he struggled a bit. I mean, he came out 15, and he wasn't too bad, but he was very inefficient in the first half. But the Timberwolves actually looked great. I mean, D'Lo left after the first quarter with an ankle sprain, but even after that, they still were looking great. Timberwolves, their offense was flowing, defense was doing well. It's just they just fell apart in that fourth quarter. They can't be doing that all the time if they want to be a playoff team. And
they let the Magic hang around that whole game though, and then the fourth quarter they let them take over. So I disagree. They did not play well that game. They should not have been that close. Wolves should have dominated.
They were up
So it's
by 15
unfortunate
at one point.
Yeah,
That was in
and
the
then
second.
we lost by 18. So wrap it up and package it. Another game, Blazers, Cavaliers. Blazers end up blowing this one to the Cavs, who look pretty solid coming into this year. The twin towers, if you would. I wouldn't. They are playing very well, and Markkanen could step up. Garland is playing really well, and Sexton is Colin Sexton. So this is a great team. The game specifically, what do you got to say on it?
So I'll start with the Cavs. So the Cavs big men, they were just way too much for these guys. They bullied them. They got whatever they want. Size just won this for them. They were getting every rebound. They were getting whatever they wanted. They're super efficient on both ends. Contrary, though, the Cavs gave the ball up a ton. They had a lot of turnovers, and like it was that's what got it so close for the Cavs. They could have just ran away with it, but they were just giving up the ball. Ball security was terrible. It was just leaking out and just basically giving the Blazers be like, here, catch up. It's fine. Just take this ball and go.
Yeah, just catch up.
But their bench came out shooting. Windler and Chetty, they were just hitting everything from 3. Those guys were just great shooters. They were doing it that day, and that's what saved them in the end. So that's what the Cavs did right. But the Blazers, on the bright side, Simmons came out. He was looking like a really nice player, looking like the fourth ball handler they need. He looked like a nice scorer off the bench. But they didn't get much else from anybody else. I mean, like CJ and Dame did what they could, but they got nothing out of Nurkic. They got nothing out of Nance. Covington did what he could. He did what he was there for. Didn't hit his threes, but he was playing nice defense, on-ball defense against them. But Dame's still in this slump. It just sucks to see. I mean,
that's what I was going to say. We need more out of Dame. I mean, he was 7 of 20 in this game, and that's probably his best game in the last few, maybe this season.
Yeah. I mean, I just think they just need more. They just, I mean, Norman Powell was fine. He came out, he played well. CJ played well, but not as efficient, but not as inefficient as Dame. They just need more. I don't know what it is. They just need something else to help them. If they want to win, if they want to go forward with their team, they just need more. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what their answer is, but they need it.
I don't know. I think they need Damian Lillard to play better. That's the main thing. I think they've got some solid players on the squad. They still might be missing something, but we need Damian Lillard to be Damian Lillard first. So another game that was exciting, but maybe not as fun as the Magic one for you was Wolves Clippers. And I went there last night and Paul George was on fire. Reggie Jackson was on fire. Nicholas Batum was on fire. Did you see a trend here, man? They were all on fucking fire. They were all just drilling threes, like you said, especially in the fourth quarter, another collapse. And it's not, I mean, it was close enough. Like it honestly, if they just shoot a little bit worse, we probably win that game. We have a really good, I'm not really good. We had a solid game offensively from the Wolves. Defensively, it wasn't there, but also the Clippers just shot the lights out. So it's like, yeah, is that the Timberwolves? Is that just the Clippers pulling it together? It's probably a mix of both. It is the Timberwolves in a degree. But of course, after the loss, then you get Cat liking a tweet that says hashtag free Cat. Oh, and now that's a controversy saying he didn't really like that, or he was hacked or whatever. And then he responds to a question saying, oh, yeah, well, with 3 losses here in Minnesota, it could turn to 17, 18, or 19. I was like, what are you talking about, Cat? So it doesn't sound like he's great. After our first time dipping to 500, he's already panicking. So that's fun. But hey, we're happy for the Clippers. They had a great game and, they look awesome. Fuck 'em.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was it. Like I said with the Magic game, their perimeter defense just falls apart. A lot of their defenders, I mean, Okoro, they really have 3 elite defenders. I mean, McDaniels isn't elite yet, but he's really nice, and he's obviously going to get there eventually in his career. Okogi's elite, the perimeter defender. Uh, who's it? Jared Vanderbilt's a really nice team defender. So they have decent defenders, but the other guys just have to know, like Cat, Ant, Malik Beasley, like it's great. Like you get in front of them, but just standing in front of them isn't enough. Like you can close out fine, but you got to close out. Like there's like hands up, not just run at them and be like, I got in front of them, coach. I did what I could. Like you need to do something more. I mean, the Clippers shot 58% from 3 this game. 58% from 3. They got to do more. And like this is, I said at the beginning of the season, like their defense is going to make or break the Timberwolves. Like their offense will always be there, especially with these players. I mean, they'll have an off night every once in a while, but it's their defense that they have to lock in, and they got to make sure that it comes.
Turning into off nights every night when the defense is like that. I mean, we just let Cole Anthony and Reggie Jackson have back-to-back career nights against us. That's the problem. That is a problem. I mean, Reggie Jackson should not be shooting 6 or 7 from 3.
Ever. I know. I hope they figure it out. I mean, they face the Clippers again. They got a good chance. D'Lo's still going to be out for that one, probably the next like 3 games. So we'll see. I mean, it's starting like if they keep this up, I'm starting to think that excuse of injuries last season wasn't that much of an excuse.
Right. And now you're going to have the same excuse. D'Lo's out now again. So it's going to be the same shit every year. But I mean, yeah, the games he's played, like he hasn't even been that great. But
they won. I don't know. So we'll see.
We'll see what goes on. They haven't won every game with him in.
Yeah. Well, they lost one, but they also haven't won.
They lost 2. He's also been dog shit in most of them, is my point.
They also haven't won a game against a decent team. Like they lost against the Nuggets, and that was when that
the Bucks. Bucks aren't good anymore.
I forgot about the Bucks, but no, I mean the Bucks were depleted. That doesn't. I want to see them.
41 points. Chris Middleton, All-Star.
Yeah, but no Drew, no Brook Lopez. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but the 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and another multi All-Star and other solid players is nothing to. That's something to buy. I got you.
Yeah.
No worries. We'll keep on sleeping on the Wolves as always. Next one, we've got Hornets, Warriors. Warriors end up pulling this off from behind their leading scorer, Jordan Poole. 7 of 16 from 3. He had a great game. And Steph Curry was a little bit off, but he still provided good defense, and he was able to facilitate as well. The Hornets, we would have liked to see a little bit more out of LaMelo Ball. His numbers weren't like horrible, but not the like 30-point near triple doubles that he's had a couple times here. And then they just didn't do enough to win here. Bridges was good. I mean, they didn't have enough to defend. Like their offense really wasn't that bad overall, but they didn't do enough on defense. They let Jordan Poole basically torch him up.
Yeah, it was their defense that hurt them. But I mean, let's look at the Warriors. What they've been doing, it's great, man. It's back to Warriors basketball. They're passing in this motion offense is so fun to see. It's so hard for defenses to get set in any sort of way, and they do it so well. The Steve Kerr is like, I'm not worried about it. It'll come out, and it did. And they were just with Jordan Poole, and it's play-esque. He's play-esque. I mean, he's doing it. He's pulling it off. It's just eventually we'll see if it tapers off at all. But he's been great these first 9 games, and
Yeah.
Steph
He's had a
Curry's
couple
on
of off games.
Yeah, he's had a couple, but usually Steph's there to catch up, and they've both been doing great. It's hard to guard those guys. Motion offense is great. People keep thinking of him, looking at him. They don't even think of look at this all-star caliber type or fringe all-star type player like right now. I mean, it's only 9 games in the season, but people don't like to look at that. If he holds it up all season, nobody's going to call him that because he's the replacement. Like when Clay comes back, he's going to take his minutes. But I think you got to start looking at this game. I'm like, you got to start looking at this guy as like a legit player. Like he's here. Like he's going to come out.
It's a bit reactionary. A little bit soon.
I'm not saying he's an all-star. I'm saying he's going to come out and produce all-star numbers, which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be an all-star. And I think he's going to do that a long way. I mean, depending upon when Clay comes back, he could jump into the running as 6th man of the year. I mean, what is it? You only have to start. You can start. I don't know what it is with the new team, but when it was an 82 game season, you can start 30 games at most.
No, we'll see. I mean, I gotta see it longer. I mean, we're only 6 games in, so.
Right. But the Hornets, Ball started off, he was fine, but they got the end of the first, second, beginning of the second quarter. He kind of fell apart and he got disconnected. He kind of pulled in Andrew Wiggins for this game. He got one really nice steal, but after that, he was just looked like he wasn't bought into the game because he was not having a good shooting night. And that's not the best thing that you can do, The Hornets, but it did show the Hornets need more defense. Like they got a lot of nice pieces, but they're going to fit some more defense in there. Great for Bridges. Bridges was great. He played great. He played awesome. He was terrific. All-star-esque type numbers again, nonchalantly, just whatever. But last thing is Hayward looked awesome. I mean, he was fine.
Yeah,
he really did look like I believe he's the top 3 best passing wing in the in the NBA right now. I mean, he's being a great veteran for all these young guys. He's making it work, and he's looking nice, and he's certainly a piece that making his signing not look so bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's been really nice for them, and they needed a good veteran to come in. I think the question with him was always going to be, can he be healthy? And that question mark is always going to be there till he puts in a full season. He didn't last year. He won't this year, but we'll see. Hopefully the games that he's there, he's still productive, and I think they have a good chance to get to the playoffs. In tough 3-game skid for them here, 3 losses in a row, but the Warriors is a good team. They ran into a buzzsaw. Hopefully they can get back on track here soon.
For sure.
But that's it. That's all we got. This is strictly ball business. We had a lot to talk about today. We will be sure to follow up as more storylines come in. Lots going on in the league and tons of fun games going on. I mean, one topic that we didn't talk about because we're tired of talking about and the offseason's over is Ben Simmons. I mean, he still hasn't played a game, and just recently, I think yesterday it was, there was a report that he hasn't been accepting any help from the Sixers team to find mental health solutions. He says he's working on himself, which, it's clear that this is just a ploy now to make sure he's still getting paid, which is a total slap in the face to anyone with legit mental health issues.
Yeah.
But we will get into plenty more in our next episode. Like I said, strictly ball business. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you soon.